Welcome everyone to Bullion Bulls, where we focus on rule-based gold trading and order flow. Today we're breaking down New York session for you guys, identifying very high probability setups using our structured approach, which is called the Bullion Bulls trading system. So let's quickly go through our daily chart. Okay, what do we see? We have our previous day high, our previous day low, price is closing below, price is below the previous day low. So right away we are looking for short trades. What we want to see is we want to see our bias quickly. So our bias on 30 minute is short, 15 is short, 5 minute is long, and 1 minute is long as well. Our pressure is below 2, is above 2 on the negative side. So what we're looking for is we are looking for a sell position in the market. I'm just going to quickly turn this off. So we're looking for sell positions in the market, and any sell setups would be setups we will entertain. So let's wait. Quickly, let's check the 2-hour chart, how the 2-hour chart's looking. This tells us whether the price is kind of in a range. So we do see price is inside the 2-hour candle as well, which is right here. So it's inside that 2-hour range as well. That's another thing we need to keep in mind. So yeah, so the daily candle and price is below that daily candle, and we have a 2-hour candle and price is below that price is kind of staying inside this 2-hour range. So we have a range bound market right now. What do we want to see? We want to see price breaking the low, which is already done. Now what we want to see is we want to see price breaking the low of the 2-hour candle and then giving us a new low and then pushing down. We do want to see volume. So right now we see buyers are dominating. However, everything is pointing towards sell side. So we're going to wait. We're going to wait for our setup to form. No trade is needed today. Let's quickly go through our markets. So today is Thursday, and we see we only have unemployment claims, which was at 6:30. If we refresh, unemployment claims 210, 211. Let's quickly go what that means. Actually less than forecasted is good for currency. So this means dollar is going up and gold should be going down. If let's say we look at that, right? Oil is going up, dollar is going up, unemployment claims are less than the forecast. So that means it's good for dollars. So we should expect gold going down. So everything is pointing towards the sell. 30 minute is pointing towards sell on the bias side. Now quickly, let's go through our structure. So first of all, we look at our oscillator, right? Our oscillator is pointing towards bearishness on the 30 minutes. On the 15, we are looking bearish. 5, we are looking bullish right now, but we want it to flip to bearish. On 1 minute, we are looking bullish. We want it to flip to bearish, right? The pressure is above 2 right now. It's actually under 2. So what we want this to be actually above 2, the whole thing. And next, what we want to see is price creating a new low, breaking that low, giving us a signal, and then price just pushing down. Okay. Next, we want to see some sort of structure in price. So something along like this, where we have lower highs and lower lows, giving us a bearish price structure. And finally, we want to see volume. So number of buyers versus number of sellers. So if we are looking for sell trades, we want to see more sellers in the market compared to buyers. Especially during New York session, recently what's happening is like lately, what's happening during the New York session is that it's being manipulated with the Iran versus the US war news. So we got to be mindful and we got to wait for a clean setup to form. So yeah, everything is pointing towards gold being bearish. Let's see what happens. We don't really see any clear direction right now. Excuse me. Well, I'll just mark for you guys the previous to our high and the previous to our low, so we can have an idea. Where are we with respect to the price? If you go here and we add another one right here, that's the previous to our high and the previous to our low. And what is this? This is our previous daily high. Yeah, we have the previous daily high. That's not previous daily low, sorry. So we are below the previous daily low. Price is kind of in this range. There's no real direction in the market. We don't really see any volume helping us to take the trades. So yeah, we'll just wait. We'll just wait for now. Let's quickly look at our auction times. Yeah, we're in this range bound market. But our bias is bearish, so we want to see a clear bear side move. If we do get our setup, the setup would then pop up with a stop loss and a take profit and an entry. So we're not really worried about, a trade setup. So once the trade setup forms, what's going to happen is in our live streams with our strategy, you'll be able to see these setups form live as they happen, and we will just take our setups. I'm just going to close this. Yeah, I'll close that quickly. Yeah. Okay, so we see this one is being bullish, right? This is being bullish. We want this to flip to bearish. We want to see price structure becoming bearish. We want to see volume becoming bearish. So everything needs to align for us to then look to the downside. Oh yeah, the flex is on here. Quickly see something here. Nothing is happening there as well. Okay. Yeah, it's sometimes it's just better to wait. It's better to wait because so we sent a response to the American proposal yesterday. Okay, so they sent it to sent it to them yesterday. So we see this range. So the market is in this tight range. Tehran is now waiting. The other side responds to its position on the American proposal. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's quickly look at Mataf and see our when gold is starting to behave. Like when is the gold most volatile? Which time of day? So let's quickly go and check. Okay, so it is the 6 a.m. right here. Pretty much what we had yesterday. So let's quickly go and check the previous hour. Okay, so the range is from 453 to 414. However, there's no clear direction. It's pretty much range bound. We are bearish. We are bearish. We have closed under the previous day low. We're actually under our daily candle is trading under our previous day low. We're looking for bearish price structure. We're looking for bearish volume. If this trades back inside the previous daily range, then we might be, just expect ranging markets. So guys, at Bullion Bulls, we're not chasing any candles. We're waiting for our specific set of structure. And then once that structure takes place, we will get our setup, which has been tried and tested. And then we will take our trades. And you guys will see once the setups form. So price is kind of, staying, right now it's just staying inside this range. We're seeing volume starting to dominate to the buy side. So this is kind of igniting hopes that they've already responded to the 15 proposals. It's response that acts of aggression and assassination by the enemy must end. Okay. So this could be bullish. This could be bullish, guys. We're seeing volume starting to pick up on the bullish side. So let's see if we can get a bullish price structure forming. Okay, we're in the extremities, right? We're trading extremities right now. So if like price is at the end of this auction time, it's just crossing the auction. Let's see if we get any volume coming in, volume coming through. Okay, the price has broken out of the previous 2-hour high. Finally, now what we want to see is we want to see a high, a low, and then a high, and then a push. Remember, we're going inside the range. I want price to go down, go below the previous 2-hour low. So right now, let's just wait. Let's just wait for the market to give us a direction. Yeah, so we're just waiting, guys, for now. I'm gonna see 30-minute is bearish, 15 is bearish, 5 is bullish, 1 minute is bullish. And remember, we want to see our higher time frames, like our lower time frame, getting aligned with our higher time frames. Right now, we have this above 2, so buys are valid. But for us to, really take trades today, our bias is towards the sell side, especially when, price is trading below the previous day low. It has to trade below the previous day low. It has to give us a move to the downside, and then we can be looking towards selling the market. For right now, it's just the opposite, especially because of the news. So let's see what happens. Not really in a rush. Right now, it's just trading on the extremities. Yeah, I'm not in a rush. What we are looking for is, remember, our bias, first of all. Second, we are looking for our bullish price structure. And last thing we're looking for is volume to get aligned with that bullish price structure. So yeah, right now we're just in a range. This could just be a trade out of the extremities and then pushing back down. Just close this for now. This price is starting to move. Let's quickly see. If it comes back down, we'll turn it on. But right now, I just want to keep it mess free and everything, right? So we're gonna see how price reacts. Let's look at the 30-minute chart and see where are our support and resistances. We have a clean resistance right here, our 30-minute resistance, and then we have a 30-minute support right here. Yeah. Yep. Well, the last support is right here, so we will just use this one. Yep. Let's see how market behaves with regards to these levels. Yeah. We're above 2 here, so price is pointing towards the bull side. We are looking to buy right now, especially based on the trend master indicator, because remember, this is a non-lagging indicator. It gives us volume as of right now. But remember, we're going to wait for our setup to form. If there is a setup on the buy side, we will only take that setup. Otherwise, we will not be taking any setups. Okay, volume is starting to dominate on one side. That's a good thing for us. Yeah, with the Bullion Bulls trading strategy, you know, there's not a lot of thinking you have to do. You can draw your levels and then see how price respects those levels. Uh, but then you have the three filters that you're using. You're using your bias, number one, that determines the direction for the day. Number two, you're using your structure, whether it's bullish or bearish. Bullish if price is moving above the band, and bearish if price is moving below the band. Um, and then you have the volume, number of buyers versus number of sellers. Are buyers dominating or are the sellers dominating in the market? So yeah, these are some of the things you guys need to keep in mind when you're trading, because if you can decide your direction, then it becomes easier to take trades. Let's wait. Yeah, we want to see clean price action. We want to see clean movements, and we want to see uh, you know overall volume domination on one side, aggressive volume domination on one side. Number of buyers versus number of sellers increasing aggressively, or number of sellers increasing aggressively compared to number of buyers. Right now, what's happening is price can potentially go back inside the previous day range. So what is happening to the auction here? Okay, still trading inside it. It's outside it, but like it's on the edges. So let's see what happens. Expect price to potentially reverse if, let's say, we don't really have news or anything that would point towards war ending. So let's see what happens. Yeah, ATR, if you look at ATR at 6.1, which is 61 pips, so it's decent. We can trade with the 31 to 40 pip ATR. Let's see, guys. Let's see. Let's wait and have patience. Not in a rush here. We're not in a rush. Yeah, the market is a bit slow. Not a lot of movement in the market right now. It is kind of in a range bound. It's in range. Let's quickly see when is the 2-hour candle closing. Closing in 2 minutes. So we have a new 2-hour candle opening in 2 minutes. So this high and low will change. Let's go and look at our 2-hour candle. Right now we have this being the high of this candle. and this being the low of this 2-hour candle. So now, in order for us to find any trades, we want to see price at least breaking out on one side. So let's see. This is like the present 2-hour high and a 2-hour low. So that's the 2-hour high and that's the 2-hour low of the present candle. Assessment is that it is one-sided and unfair, serving only the US and Israel interests. Okay, there you go, guys. We might see some downtrend now. Let's see. I'm not gonna enforce my bias. We're gonna wait and see for price to respect or give us some direction. Okay. Okay. Okay, 52 seconds left. We're not rushing. Okay, so no realistic plans to end the war. That's bearish. That's bearish. Oil is already pushing up. We already have oil going up. We already have, what is else going up? Dollars going up because of the unemployment claims. But the volume is on the buy side for right now. It's not stopped, and if realism prevails in Washington, a path forward may still be found. Not sure, like, okay, so right now, volume is, we'll have to wait for now. We'll have to wait for now, and we'll have to see how the direction really takes in. And that's when, we will go for our trading setup. Previous 2-hour high, previous daily low, previous 2-hour low. Yeah, anyone watching, do let me know if you guys have any questions. So what this does is like, it keeps you away from choppy markets. It keeps you away from markets when there is no clear direction. So what we've done is we've drawn a 2-hour high and low, and previous daily high and previous daily low, and 30-minute support and resistance. And then we are also looking for what we say, the auction times. This is when gold is, pretty much bought and sold in the markets. So we see prices kind of ranging in that level. So we might see this sell coming down. Okay, so there are a lot of countries involved. I just want to see, I'm not buying or selling anything. I just want to see how this works out if, let's say, we do take a sell. In such a market condition, our setups don't really work because our setups are more for a trending market. But let's say if something like this happens, do we see price, coming to that opposite end of the range, since we would trade extremities? And then the stop loss would just simply be the previous 2-hour previous daily low or the previous 2-hour high, since both are pretty much the same. Like, they are pretty much at the same level right here. So I just want to see 2-hour high and 2-hour low. Okay, yeah, it's right there. Let's see. I'm not taking any trades, guys. This is just to see if, we will see something happening. Like, what I want to see is if price is in a range, this should push here. As you see, it's been doing since morning. That's the kind of price we want to see. We want to see price coming back down, because market is in a range, is in a range, and we should see price coming to the other end. We can see, yeah. Nothing is guaranteed, but we can see market, pushing to the other end. And sellers are starting to step in. So let's see. Not in a rush here, not in a rush. Yeah, a lot of things are going for this trade setup that we have on our screen. But let's see if it continues to, take the direction we want it to take. But yeah, our bias is going to be, our bias for today is bearish. However, the trend master indicator for right now is pointing towards the bull side. But there's not enough information for us to have that conclusion. So we're going to wait for more information. Meanwhile, this is one of the trades that we have. Okay, Trump holds a cabinet meeting. Okay, so this could be interesting. If you guys are in any trades, I suggest maybe close those trades right now, because if he is having a meeting, this could have a significant impact on the market. So yeah, we're gonna tune in to what Trump is about to say. Yeah, this is a surprise meeting. We did not expect this to be in today. It was supposed to be at 2 p.m. Yeah, the calendar says President Trump speaks at, when it is. Let me see quickly, guys. So yeah, I saw that this morning, 2 p.m. But he's speaking earlier. So let's see. Okay, so the market is kind of, it's trying to stay here at this level. We are bearish, remember. We're looking for that bear move. Ideally, I want to see price going below the 2-hour low and then pushing down. But like right now, just for the sake of our trade setup, I'm looking at this trade setup right here. And this is mainly because of the range. Let's see. But yeah, like it depends on this cabinet meeting as well. Like if it's a meeting around ending the war, or there is some proof that the war is going to end, then we might see, price starting to become bullish. But for right now, we are looking to the bear side. Yeah, it's a clean setup. Like stop is right here, and our take profit is at the other end. Yeah, the market is, sorry, the meeting is about to start at any time. We are seeing sell side starting to dominate as well. So let's see. Yeah, like sometimes the market is just slow. Asia session, well, market was really good. London session, there was a good move during the London session as well. But like right now, we're just going to be waiting for, a better move, a better clean move, a more predictable price action. Yeah, let's wait, guys. Let's wait. We're not in a rush here. Yeah, price is kind of being respected at this level. There might be a positive news. Let's see. For us to be bullish, we want to see, um, our bias pointing towards the bull side. We want to see our structure pointing towards the bull side. And then we also want to see our volume pointing towards the bull side as well. So if when all of the things are pointing toward the bull side, we'll be looking for bullish trades. Okay. So now it's kind of aligning with our overall bias for the day, which was bearish. Let's see if it continues and pushes to the other side. Yeah, we're waiting for this meeting to start. Yeah, let's see if we can get, pushed down, because they're holding this price at this level very cleanly. So we want to see if price wants to come down. And if not, then we want to see what the meeting has in store, because lately what's happening is market is responding to the news, especially news around uh, around US's reaction to the Iran's war, to Iran and US war. So we want to see is like how the market responds, and do we see that bear move that we are expecting, or we just are gonna wait and become bullish because of this cabinet meeting. Half of the job is won if you can stop yourself from overtrading and stop yourself from taking trades in in environments where it's a low probability trade environment. Yeah. So yeah, we'll just keep working on this. You just keep watching, and I'll join you guys once Trump comes back, or yeah, yeah, because we might not be taking any trades based on this event. We'll have to wait. It just can't be that with this news coming in, we will not be able to trade until this news ends. But this is a very good move, guys. We're seeing the move getting aligned with our bias for the day, which was bearish. And okay, what is this? The pride of Islam, and know that a stockpile of surprise is coming your way, so wait for it. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see, guys. There's just so much happening, right? So we just gotta wait and see if we can get this opposite end tested. Because remember, like, we're in this range since morning, and we're waiting for price to just come back down and test this level here. We're pretty much at the 50% mark, right? We're at the 50% mark right now. A lot of the times these are the levels which potentially price can show reversals, but since we are bearish anyways, we can see price continue moving down. Yeah, on this channel, you will see things done differently because we are using we're using different style here. We're using a mechanical approach. Remember, we are not risking real money on this channel. Everything done is on demo. So yeah, guys, we're just gonna wait. Yeah, right now the market is literally just, ranging, and we're waiting for the news. Yeah, let's see, guys. Let's see. I'm not in a rush. We did see price come to 50% of this level, right? Yeah. So yeah, let's wait, guys. Let's wait for this news to pass, because like nothing is gonna work. Whenever there's news, nothing will work. So we'll just wait. Yeah, guys, this is classic market behavior when there is an upcoming news event or whenever there are surprise meetings like these. So it's really important for you guys to just, wait and wait for, a clear direction to get established. And that's when you want to be, entering any trades. So right now we're just going to be observing, waiting for this news to pass. If it passes, like if it takes pretty much the entire stream, then we might not be trading this session, and we will look for trades tomorrow. Otherwise, we will come back. I'll come back and we will start looking for trades once this new news event passes. Okay, guys? So yeah, thanks. So price has gone inside the previous day range. We are seeing volume dominating on one side. We see our 30-minute candle. Okay. We have 30-minute candle closing above these levels. What about the 2-hour candle? 2-hour candle is broken out as well. We did create a high, then we're creating a new high along with volume. What is our bias telling us? Bias still telling us bearishness in the market. 15-minute is bearish, 5-minute is bullish, 1-minute is bullish. We are testing a very crucial level here. So let's see. I'm not in a rush, especially with the cabinet meeting coming in. We can wait. If we do see a one-side move, we will be able to we'll be able to take a piece of that move. See auction. Okay, price has started to push up. I don't really see any news around this. Okay, volume is starting to go one side.
And we all know him very well, and he was a very popular senator, a very effective senator. Effective probably being the more important word, JD, don't you think?
Yes, sir.
And we wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you.
I think you do fantastically well. Congratulations to you. You have an amazing family that were here yesterday in the Oval, sworn in. His family is amazing, so thank you very much. We're now on day 41 of the disgraceful Democrat shutdown of Mark Wayne's department. Congratulations. He came into a department that shut down by the radical Democrats. Right? But Democrats are really punishing the American people. I saw it today on one of the shows where they were interviewing people at the airport, and they're all angry at the Democrats. They're saying they're actually angry at Schumer. I didn't think anyone knew his name. One woman said, that Schumer is disgraceful. He's a disgrace to our country. But they're angry at the Democrats. They know what's happening. But they're punishing the American people, including travelers at airports, all in the quest to return to open borders and give amnesty to illegal alien criminals. They want to give amnesty to some of the criminals that came into our country, just about all of them, actually, if you look at it. They love sanctuary cities, which is a sanctuary for criminals. They want to make sure they're taken care of. That's what we're fighting about. That's really what they're fighting. They don't talk about that, but that's what they're fighting about. They want to protect criminals. In many cases, 11,888 murders. Many of them, I will say, are gone now because of us. We got them out. But still have some left. Should have never happened, should have never been allowed to come into our country. But we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let the Democrats get away with this stuff, and people are wise to them. So they need to end the shutdown immediately, or we'll have to take some very drastic measures. This morning, I want to give an update on the Operation Epic Fury, which is an appropriate name because we are absolutely obliterating them. Over the past 3 weeks, we've been hitting Iran's military capabilities at a level that few people have ever seen before. People never knew there was such a capability. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world by far. I built it during my first administration, and I used it during my second administration. Unfortunately, because I'd rather not have to use it. But it's a display of force and precision and skill like nothing the world has really witnessed, although you got a pretty good witnessing of it in Venezuela also. And that was a smaller version of what we're doing now. We're crushing their missiles and drone stockpiles, destroying their defense industrial base. We've wiped out their Navy completely, their Air Force completely. We've wiped out a large percentage of their missiles. And the missile launchers, without the launchers, the missiles don't do any good. And we've knocked out probably close to 90% of the launchers, probably more than 90% of the missiles themselves. Between some they fired and more than they fired, we knocked out. We've also destroyed a lot of the factories. We're continuing to do that, but a lot of the factories where they manufacture the drones and the missiles. The drones, too, are way down, but the reason they're down is they go one way and they don't come back, because for the most part we're shooting them down. But we also are able to, we've really done tremendous damage to the places where they make them. And just so we set the record straight, because I've been watching the Wall Street Journal's fake news and all these stories that get printed like, oh, I want to make a deal. They are begging to make a deal, not me. They're begging to make a deal. And anybody that saw what was happening over there would understand why they want to make a deal. But they say, oh, we're not talking to them. Anybody would know that. And only a total fool. And they're not fools. They're very smart, actually, in a certain way. And they're great negotiators. I say they're lousy fighters, but they're great negotiators. They are begging to work out a deal. I don't know if we'll be able to do that. I don't know if we're willing to do that. They should have done that 4 weeks ago. They should have done it 2 years ago. Or they should have done it when we first came into office, because 2 years ago they had free reign under Biden. Sleepy Joe, worst president in the history of our country. What he allowed to happen to our country at the borders, and even with a thing like this. But not just him. Every president for 47 years, every president should have done this. They should have done it a long time ago, because you cannot give lunatics a nuclear weapon, and they would have had a big one. It stopped really when we did the B-2, but even before that, the Barack Hussein Obama, what he did where he gave them the Iran nuclear deal, gave them free will toward a nuclear weapon. Basically, he chose Iran over Israel and others that didn't want him to do it. But I terminated that deal. Had I not terminated that deal, you would have had a nuclear weapon years ago, and it would have been used, guaranteed. And one of the reasons you know about the guarantee is because their neighbors were sort of like bystanders. They weren't involved very much. They didn't choose heavy sides. They didn't want to, because people were concerned with Iran. There was a big black cloud over the Middle East. They were concerned, but all of a sudden the war starts, and they start shooting at these five, in particular, 5 countries. They start shooting at Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Oman. They start shooting at them, and everybody was shocked, including us. You know why? Because they're sick, and they had a plan to take over the Middle East. And some of those missiles that were shot at them were locked long before we even started this process. They were locked and loaded and aimed at those countries. They wanted to take over the Middle East, but we happened to come along, so it wasn't so easy. So right now their navy is sunk in the largest elimination of a foreign navy that has taken place, maybe ever, but certainly since World War II. Their Air Force is gone. Their anti-aircraft and communications capabilities are totally dismantled. And one of the problems they do have when they deal with us is we deal with people, and the people aren't able to communicate with anybody else. So, you know, because all of their leadership has been gone. The first level is gone, and they met to pick a new level, and they're gone. They're all gone because they didn't make a deal, and because they're sick people. They're really sick. They're really sinister, sick people. And if anybody thinks it was okay to have a group of people like this to have nuclear capability, nuclear weapons, and if we didn't attack with the B-2 bombers, they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks of that, maybe 4 weeks. But between 2 and 4 weeks, they were planning to have a nuclear weapon. If we didn't hit them at that time with the B-2 bombers, and one of the great air raids in history, maybe the greatest, dark at night, no moon, no light, every single bomb hit its mark and just obliterated that place. So it's now buried deep under earth. And it was an amazing thing, but they would have a nuclear, and they would have used it without question. And you know that because why did they shoot all these countries that weren't even really involved with them? They weren't involved. They had no big problems because they're sick, because they want to take over the Middle East, not just Israel. Certainly Israel would have been the first on their list. They would have used nuclear weapons, a nuclear, you don't need too many of them, but they would have used a nuclear weapon on Israel, and they would have used it on the other neighbors, and then they would have come after us. And if we had a weak president, they would have done great damage. But fortunately, you don't have a weak president. I knew what was happening. And I think we've been proven right. You know, they took one missile, went 2,500 miles. They supposedly didn't have a missile like that. They had no missile with that capability. But they shot the now famous Ireland, the island that the UK was very afraid to give us because they didn't want to get dragged in. But we don't want to get dragged into their wars either. You know? It's one thing, we're very disappointed, I'll say it publicly, we're very disappointed with NATO because NATO has done absolutely nothing. And I've always said, 25 years ago, I mean, I was somebody that wasn't a politician, but I was always involved in politics and I understood politics. I said 25 years ago that NATO's a paper tiger, but more importantly, that we'll come to their rescue, but they will never come to ours. And I want you to remember that we said this. They didn't come to our rescue. Now they all want to help. When they're annihilated, the other side is annihilated, they said, we'd love to send ships. They actually made a statement, a couple of them, that we want to get involved when the war's over. No, it's supposed to get involved when the war's beginning, or even before it begins. We had the UK say that we'll send, this is 3 weeks ago, we'll send our aircraft carriers, which aren't the best aircraft carriers, by the way. They're toys compared to what we have. But we'll send our aircraft carrier when the war is over. I said, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. Don't bother. We don't need it. And we don't need it, and we don't need them. We estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission, and we're way ahead of schedule. If you look at what we've done in terms of the destruction of that country, I mean, we're way ahead. Think of it, they have no Navy, and they had good ships. 154 ships have been shot down and are resting very nicely at the bottom of the sea. And we did that in a matter of less than a week. Because we have the greatest military in the world by far, nobody even close. So we estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission. 26 days in, we're extremely, really a lot ahead of schedule. The Iranian regime is now admitting to itself that they have been decisively defeated. They're saying to people, this is a disaster. They know it. That's why they're talking to us. They wouldn't talk otherwise. But they're talking to us because they've got a disaster in their hands. They're defeated. They can't make a comeback. We're free to roam over their cities and towns and destroy all of their crazy nuclear weapons and missiles and drones that they're building. And we're doing that. They now have a chance to make a deal, but that's up to them. And they'll tell you, we're not negotiating. We will not negotiate. Of course they're negotiating. They've been obliterated. Who wouldn't negotiate? They are begging to make a deal. We'll see if we can make the right deal. And if they make the right deal, then the strait will open up. Hormuz Strait will open up. And even now, we don't know if there are any mines. You know, they have 22 they call mine droppers. Think of it. Who would have 22 mine droppers? There's a boat that drops mines. Who has 22 mine droppers? Except for people with very evil intention. So every one of those mine droppers has been struck with the same weapon we used to stop drugs from coming into the United States of America. When we hit those boats, it's the exact same weapon, extremely effective. We have unlimited supplies and extremely effective. But they have no more mine droppers. By the way, speaking of drugs, we're 98% down drugs coming in by water, by the ocean, by the sea. 98%. And we're trying to find out who are the 2% because we think they're the bravest men anywhere in the world. Maybe women. But whoever's on those boats is very brave or doesn't watch television. But we're drugs coming in by sea, coming in by water are 98% down. And now we'll stop the drugs coming in by land. The land is the easy one. You had to stop the water. A lot of it came in through the water. Now it's all pinched. And these people are trying to come in by land. And we will, that's it. That's the easy one. But we had to take care of the water first. Nobody's coming in. Virtually nothing is coming in anymore. It was hundreds of millions of dollars a week were coming in by water. But they now have the chance, that is Iran, to permanently abandon their nuclear ambitions and to chart a new path forward. We'll see if they want to do it. If they don't, we're their worst nightmare. In the meantime, we'll just keep blowing them away, unimpeded, unstopped. Well, there's not a thing they can do about it. They can't do anything about it, you know? I tell you, if they could, you'd be hearing about it. You'd be hearing about it. You don't hear anything about it. They can't shoot our jets. We have the best military equipment in the world. No, not even a contest. And you see that with Venezuela. They had other equipment. They didn't have ours. It didn't work. Didn't work. Think of it. We did the situation in Venezuela. It was a great military operation, getting a very, very dangerous man who's killed a lot of people, forced people into our country. Incredible. He emptied his prisons in Venezuela, emptied his prisons into our country, and I hope that charge will be brought at some point, because that was a big charge that hasn't been brought yet. It should be brought. He emptied his prisons into our country and was a major purveyor of drugs coming into our country. And he's now been captured and he'll, I guess be given a fair trial. But I would imagine there are other trials coming, because they have they've really sued him just in a fraction of the kind of things that he's done. Other cases are going to be brought, as you probably know. In the meantime, with Iran, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing, and nobody's a match for the United States, but they're not a match for the United States. It's small potatoes. That's why I'm so disappointed in NATO, because this was a test for NATO. This was a test. You can help us. You don't have to, but if you don't have, if you don't do that, we're going to remember. Just remember this in a number of months from now. Remember my statements. They have an expression, a great expression: never forget. Never forget. So as we end threats to America abroad, we're focused here at home on building the greatest economy in the history of the world. Now, before this started, the Dow hit 50,000. The S&P hit 7,000. Both of those achievements were not achievable. Every one of you, most of you, I guess, said you'll never hit 50,000 during a 4-year period because it was too high a number. Well, we hit it in our first year. And I said, well, now we have to take an excursion to Iran, and we have to stop this maniac who's no longer with us. The supreme leader wasn't so supreme, no longer with us. It's very sad. But we have to stop him from blowing up the world, blowing up the Middle East, and blowing up our country, and we did that. And frankly, I thought the oil prices would go up more, and I thought the stock market would go down more. It hasn't been nearly as severe as I thought. I think they have confidence in maybe the American president and maybe the people sitting around this table. But Americans filing their taxes this year are receiving record-setting refunds. It's been a very big story. Well, it should be a big story. I don't think you read about it that much, but I speak about it. I speak about it, because if I speak about it, at least people hear. You don't write about it. You don't write about the drug prices going down. It'll be going down 30, 40, 50, 60%, 70%. Favored nations, called most favored nations. We're going to be paying the lowest price anywhere in the world. Before we paid the highest price in the world, Bobby, right? And now we're going to pay the lowest price in the world. That's quite a difference. It's a difference of from 40 to 70 and 80 and even 90%. That's a pretty big difference. But we're slashing regulations, and investment is pouring in from all over the world. We have the most investment of any country in history has been put into our country in the last year. And again, we had to take a little detour. Won't be long. Going to end soon. We had to take a little detour, go to Iran, and we had to put out a fire. Very dangerous fire that could have blown up big portions of the world, if not the whole thing. So tomorrow we'll be announcing a variety of actions that we're taking to support American farmers, who we never forget. We love the farmers. We gave them $12 billion out of tariff money. We had a tremendous amount of tariff money come in, and we continue to have. We've gone, as you know, the Supreme Court gave us a very unfortunate, foolish ruling, a ruling that gives the people that have ripped off our country for many years, gives them some money back. But it's one of those things. It's a terrible, terrible, horrible mistake they made, but it's okay because we have another method that's just as good. We'll use the other method. But because the tariff money has been so substantial, we gave our farmers, who have been mistreated by some countries, we gave them $12 billion, and they're extremely happy, and they deserve it. They've been great. They never complain. They just go out and they farm, and they wouldn't do anything different. They wouldn't trade jobs with any of you, except maybe some of the fake media. I don't know. Somehow I don't see that. I like their job better, actually. I love the farmers. So we gave them $12 billion. So in just a few moments, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will discuss the actions that we're taking to address energy prices, which have not gone up as much as I thought, Scott, to be honest with you. And, you know, it's not over, so maybe it'll go up a little bit more. It's all going to come back down to where it was, and probably lower. And my predictions have been right. Trump was right about everything. They have a new hat. Trump was right about everything. It's pretty right. But Scott's going to address that. And I think before we go very much further, I want to ask Vice President J.D. Vance to say a few words about where we are with the situation. He's involved with Steve and with Jared on negotiations, and then some of the others will speak. We'll have Marco say a few words. Pete Hegseth, who was born for this role. I mean, he's doing a great job. They gave him a hard time. And now people, I'll tell you, somebody came up to me yesterday, gave you a very hard time, said, you know, I made a mistake. Pete Hegseth is doing a good job. So when I tell you who, you're not even going to believe it. He said, Hegseth, he gave you such a nasty hard time, but you're doing great. And then Steve is going to speak, and Scott will speak last. And if we have any questions, we'll take some questions. You may have questions. I doubt it, but you may have some. So, JD, please.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you. It's good to see everybody. Proud to be part of this team. Proud to be serving the president of the country. Let me just say a couple things. The first of all is the president summarized this very ably. But look, the Iranian conventional military is effectively destroyed. They don't have a navy. They don't have the ability to hit us like they could have even a few weeks ago. And what that does is that gives us options, Mr. President. Now, there's been a lot of reporting about diplomatic options, about negotiations. There's, of course, Pete and his team. There are further military options. But what we have now that we didn't have when the president took over just a little over a year ago is the ability to use every tool at our disposal to ensure that Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon. Because when I say options, I think it's important the American people know options for what? And it's options to ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. You talk about people who walk into a crowded supermarket and have a vest on, and they blow up the vest and a couple of people get killed, and that's a terrible tragedy. What happens when what's on the vest is not something that can kill a couple of people, but can kill many, many tens of thousands of people? That is the most important American national security objective that exists for any administration at any time, is you don't want the worst people in the world to have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president is doing this. That's why the president cares so much about this particular issue. I'll let Steve talk a little bit about the details of the negotiation, but the last thing I'll say before I turn it over to Marco is I'm very mindful, of course, that we have a lot of folks overseas fighting very ably for the United States of America. I know Pete and the whole team, we're very proud of them, but they're fighting at a time where we're about to enter as Christians the most important week of the Christian calendar, the Holy Week that celebrates the return of Jesus Christ to Jerusalem. And so I want to say to all of my fellow American Christians, but particularly those serving in the Gulf, that I wish you all a very blessed Easter, a very blessed Holy Week, and we continue to stand behind you and continue to support you every step of the way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Marco?
The most important job any president has is to keep the American people safe. And every president says it, but we have a president that means it and does something about it. As the president outlined very clearly to the world on the night this operation began, Iran has been at war with the United States for 47 years. For 47 years, Iran has been killing Americans and attacking Americans across this planet. And other presidents had an opportunity to do something about it. And they all warned about how Iran was dangerous, but they refused to act. And this president's not someone that's going to refuse to act. He's not going to leave a danger like this in place. He's going to address it, and that is what he is doing. From the very first night of this operation, the president made it very clear. People like this, and now what I'm talking about is not the people of Iran. The people that run this country are radical Shia clerics. These are religious fanatics. Look what they are doing now. At their weakest point, this is the weakest Iran has ever been, and look at what they're doing. They're attacking embassies. They're attacking hotels. Imagine what these people would do if they had a nuclear weapon. That is an unacceptable risk for the world. By the way, the president's not just doing a favor to the United States and to our people. This is for the world. He defined very clearly on the first night of this operation what the goal was. We were going to destroy Iran's Navy, and that is happening. We were going to, if it hasn't already happened, I'll let Pete speak to the specifics of it. We were going to destroy their missile launching capabilities. We're well on our way to achieving that goal. We were going to destroy the factories so they couldn't make more missiles and more drones, and that is moving forward. Every single objective the president clearly laid out on the first night of this operation is being effectuated. Again, Pete will speak to the specifics of it. This has been an incredibly successful operation. Every day, it may not get covered because, we're unlike them. We're not bombing embassies and hotels. We're hitting military targets. But every day, the Department of War lets the drummer get wicked over every portion of Iran that has these military capabilities, and the results are going to bear fruit for the world. The world is going to be a safer and a better place when President Trump's mission here is achieved. And frankly, I think countries around the world, even those that are out there complaining about this a little bit, should actually be grateful that the United States has a president that's willing to confront a threat like this and not allow it to continue to persist. Because these people will kill as many Americans as they have a chance to do, and if they have a nuclear weapon, as the Vice President pointed out, they could kill millions of Americans in the future, and that is a risk that was not going to continue to exist as long as we had this president.
Thank you, Marco. It's very interesting because yesterday I was watching, is it Anthony Blinken? And he was saying that they should have done it. But they didn't do it. Nobody did it. Nobody did it. For 47 years, Marco, that's the number, 47. I guess now it's 48, because we've been saying 47 for a long time. It's probably 48. But for 47, 48 years, every president should have done this. And some are saying now that they made a big mistake in not doing it, but we're taking care of business. Steve Witkoff, please.
Mr. President, it is my distinct honor to be a member of your cabinet and to report to you and your team on our negotiations with Iran. Mr. President, you directed Jared and I to pursue a diplomatic resolution with Iran prior to Operation Epic Fury, which we did. However, it became quite clear during these meetings with the Iranian negotiating team that we could not make a deal that fulfilled your objectives of the following: no enrichment whatsoever, no chance of weaponizing whatsoever, decommissioning of Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan, which you destroyed in Operation Midnight Hammer, no stockpiling of any material, which they flagrantly had violated, turning all enriched material over to us, and a cutback in Iran's missile inventory and range capability of those same missiles. Throughout our meetings with the Iranians, we heard the following from them. The Iranians have the inalienable right to enrich. Then we heard they possessed enough 60% enriched material, 460 kilograms, to make 11 atomic bombs. Finally, we heard the following statement. They would not give up diplomatically what we could not win militarily. In other words, they were again miscalculating the success of Midnight Hammer, which was a total success. These are incontrovertible signs, among many other signs, sir. that their regime had not given their negotiating team authority to make a deal required by you. We conferred with you and all the other members of your foreign policy team, Susie Wiles, Pete Hegseth, the chairman, Marco Rubio, JD, Scott Bessent, Chris Wright, John Radcliffe, throughout all of these negotiations, and we were repeatedly rebuffed on everything we asked for. I have no doubt that we exhausted all efforts on behalf of a peaceful resolution, as you directed. Jared and I both agreed that the Iranians were there to buy time until a weaker president arrived. This was a flawed strategy, as your clear direction was to never allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon today or any time in the future. Against that backdrop and our compelling military successes in epic fury, we have had multiple reach-outs from the region and others who want to play a role in ending this conflict peacefully. I can report to you today that we have, along with your foreign policy team, presented a 15-point action list that forms the framework for a peace deal. This has been circulated through the Pakistani government, acting as the mediator. And this has resulted in strong and positive messaging in talks, as you just indicated to the press. But these are sensitive diplomatic discussions, and you have directed us to maintain confidentiality on the specific terms and not negotiate through the news media as others do. I can say this: we will see where things lead, and if we can convince Iran that this is the inflection point with no good alternatives for them, other than more death and destruction. We have strong signs that this is a possibility, and if a deal happens, it will be great for the country of Iran, for the entire region, and the world at large. Your policy of peace through strength is the most effective tool for a diplomatic resolution here, just as this policy was an effective tool in each and every one of all of the other conflicts you settled in your first year. Iran is looking for an off-ramp following your powerful threat on Saturday. Your indications that you are willing to listen to peace proposals have been well received. You have instructed us that your preference is always peace, and that we should make that our priority. We have delivered that message, sir, along with the 15 points for peace. Finally, we have told Iran one last thing: don't miscalculate again.
Good. Thank you very much. Good job. Doing a great job. Everybody around this table is doing a great job. Pete Hegseth, please.
Mr. President. I'll start kind of where you left off, Mr. President. Thank you for doing the work of the free world and having the courage to step up and stop the Iranian terror regime from holding the world hostage. That's really what it is. And 27 days ago, Iran had a modern military. Never in recorded history has a nation's military been so quickly and effectively neutralized. Operation Epic Fury is not an endless war. It's a decisive campaign with clear objectives to destroy Iran's offensive military capabilities and ensure they never obtain a nuclear weapon. This is stuff for the history books. This is stuff for legacy. Mr. President, you are acting now to ensure future generations do not have to live under the threat of a nuclear-armed Iran. However, you wouldn't know it if you listened to the dishonest hate Trump media, as you referenced. The folks here in the room, these cameras, they have a choice. You're either informing the American people of the truth or you're not. Because I hear it from my people every day. Behind every headline you write, there's a helicopter crew in the air. And behind every news banner you write, there's a battalion on the move. And behind every fake news story, there's an F-35 pilot executing a dangerous mission. My message to the media is get it right. This actually isn't something new to me. I may be a young guy, Mr. President, but I'm not a rookie in this realm. In 2007, I helped lead the surge, the public fight for the Iraq surge. Stood and watched people stand in the Senate and declare the war is lost before it even started. Who was that? It was Harry Reid. That was the Democrats and the media working hand in glove. Back then it was 3 years into a war. Now we're 3 weeks into an operation. But see, unlike Iraq, this isn't a tie. This is not parity. This is not chaos. This is success, pure American success, on plan, and as the president said, ahead of pace. Over 10,000 enemy targets destroyed, over 140, I think now you're right, Mr. President, over 150 naval vessels sunk, underground facilities destroyed, their defense industrial base in shambles, and overnight, not only do they not have a Navy, Mr. President, they no longer have a Navy commander. IRGC's Navy commander was killed overnight in operation. So no Navy leader. Now that here's the thing about the media though, if President Trump had not acted, you'd be screaming, why not? And now that he has taken decisive action, you're asking, well, why did you? It's the same old tired playbook, TDS in your DNA. But the hardworking, God-fearing, patriotic Americans out there know better. And you alluded to this, President Obama, Mr. President. Here's a fact that you don't hear on your networks, but we know. Many of the Iranian military factories and bases that we're systematically destroying were paid for by the pallets of American cash that Barack Obama flew into Tehran under the Iran deal. You might call it an inconvenient truth. Iran took our money and turned it into weapons and bunkers and ammo. And now we're destroying those weapons, and you're righting, Mr. President, that grievous wrong. And make no mistake, we had to act. And our objectives are clear. No nukes, no Navy, and a complete dismantling of their missile program and defense industrial base. And as Marco pointed out, that mission, and the VP as well, has not changed since day one. Yet, 2 days ago, they shot 2 failed missiles on a target 4,000 kilometers away. For years, they told the world that their missiles could only range 2 kilometers. Surprise. Yet again, Iran lied. And to the world, I say London is 4,000 kilometers from Iran. Washington, D.C. is 3,300 kilometers from Venezuela, another country President Trump did something about that partnered for a long time with Iran. So you're telling us that Iran is not a threat to the world or to the U.S. President Trump knows better. And here's what success actually looks like right now. You mentioned it, Mr. President. A-10 Warthogs, if you know them, you love them, and Apache helicopter gunships are flying strike missions inside Iranian airspace and throughout the Strait of Hormuz at will. See, you only send these slow, low-flying, close air support platforms when the enemy has no meaningful air defenses left. Their presence is proof that Iran's air defenses are gone. Their command and control is shattered, their top leaders hiding in underground bunkers, while their mid-level commanders are being crushed in the field. The morale of their fighters plummeting, and we see that disconnect daily. They're privately admitting, as you said, Mr. President, very heavy losses. We know that. President Trump has given us a clear mission. Our capabilities are only going up and Iran's are plummeting. We are here to win, and we're full speed ahead. So, Steve, we appreciate your efforts. We pray for a deal, and we welcome a deal. And we have the ultimate deal maker to make it happen. But in the meantime, as I said yesterday, the Department of War will continue negotiating with bombs. War is negotiation by other means. And finally, I want to thank our incredible troops. Our pilots, crews, sailors, refuelers, air defenders, the absolute best of America, the real 1% of our country. This president, President Trump, has your back. And I know this cabinet prays for you every single day, and we ask the American people to do the same as they continue in this mission. God bless. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
President.
very much. It's great. I think before I ask Scott to say a couple of words, it would be great if people like the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois would say, please come in and stop the crime. A beautiful young lady was killed the other day, and the father was a very good friend of Dan Scavino. And he took it very hard. Dan took it very hard, like the father, friends. They grew up together. And it's a young lady whose life would be saved if we did what we did as an example in Washington, D.C., which is now a safe city. All the time, people come up to me in the building, people that work here, they say, thank you so much. I know immediately what they're talking about. They're able to walk to work. They walk to work. You all walk to work. Some of you were mugged. I know you told me stories. Some of you were mugged. One person in particular was viciously mugged in the group right here. It's not happening anymore. You have a safe city. Louisiana, the governor of Louisiana called me, can you help me with New Orleans? They just had the Mardi Gras. He said it was the safest Mardi Gras we've ever had. Sounds terrible to say. No murders. You know, it sounds like, who would say this? No murders. But they always had murders. They had a lot of crime during Mardi Gras. He said virtually no crime. We had the troops down there. Memphis, Tennessee, I just got back. We were there. Crime is down 75%. In a short period of time, we're there 5 months. We could do that for Chicago. We could do that for New York. We could do that for LA. And we could do that for, frankly, San Francisco. I know they have a mayor who's trying very hard. He's a Democrat, but he's trying very hard. But we can do it much more effectively because he can't do what we do. He can't take people out from the city and bring them back to the country from where they came, where they were in prisons. They were allowed to go in prisons. There were drug dealers, the highest level drug dealers, murderers, 11,888 murders. We do things that they can't do. I had friends calling me up from San Francisco. Could you give him a chance? I said, absolutely. If you want him, we'll give him a chance. He's trying. He's doing okay, but we could do much better. We could make it a lot safer than it is. San Francisco, a great city, was a great city, could quickly become a great city again. But, you know, they're going very slowly. I tell my friends they're very substantial people. They're in a certain business where people have made a lot of money. I just hope that lasts. But they have a tremendous potential. It was one of the greatest cities in the world. Now it's got a lot of crime. And the mayor is really trying it. Again, a Democrat trying. And I spoke to him. He just wants to have a chance. And I said, we'll give you a chance. But we can solve it very quickly. This young lady would be around today if we were around, because we have nobody coming through our border. I mean, literally for 9 months, it's zero. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, guys, so we've taken this position based on the news. So there's no update with regards to the Iran war. So what we're waiting for right now is we're waiting for price to hit our take profit. Yeah, overall bias for today has been sell side. News is pointing towards sell side. Oil is ripping. So we expect to see gold to push down. Add another contract. I might add like one more contract here. It's like 4460. 4460. Yeah, this level is really important. If this breaks, that's when you would be adding more.
Believe that number can be possible because millions of people came in through Biden. But nobody even tries. We don't have the caravans of thousands, 25, 30,000 people pouring into our border. They come up in caravans. We don't have caravans anymore. There's no such thing anymore. There's a name that I think I developed, but somebody developed it, but I think it was me. I thought it was an appropriate name. Thousands of people would come up and just barge into our country, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. And this man came in, Dan, right? And he came in through the ridiculous open border of Biden. If we were there, the election was rigged. What are you going to do? Came back, big comeback. But if we were there, we wouldn't have had people coming through. It's amazing. You know, it's so easy now because everyone knows they're not getting through. We don't have any caravans. Once they know that, when it was easy to come through. When I heard that they had an open border policy, I said, boy, this is going to be, I couldn't believe it. But when it was actually, you know, it dawned on me because I had built 1,000 miles of wall and we were finishing up some and he didn't want to finish it up. Biden, I said, they really do want to have an open border. And we got it finished. But that young lady would be alive today. And she'd be alive for another reason, because we would have the National Guard in Chicago and in New York and in other places. And they love doing it. It's like training, to be honest. It's actually training. I never want to take them out of D.C. I mean, maybe somebody later on will do it, but I never want to take. You know, the people, they look, they say, we feel so good, we feel so safe. We see these beautiful, strong people, and they're so nice. They help. They open the doors for people. They carry bags. They pick up paper when they see paper on the ground. I looked at D.C. last night. I drove to make a speech, and I drove through, and I said, take me this way, take me that way. The city's clean. The fences are down. You don't have homeless all over your parks. I mean, we had parks. There was no room for anything else other than homeless. It's all clean and nice. And it'll be even more beautiful in a year from now. And we have some projects that are great. This ballroom is going to be something that's so beautiful for the city, so desperately needed by presidents. I mean, now it's no secret the military wanted it more than anybody. It was supposed to be secret, but it became unsecret because of people that are really unpatriotic saying things. But doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's going to be great. We're building an arc, a triumphal arc, which will be incredible for the city. Incredible. We're fixing up what was the Kennedy Center. You know, I was honored when the board changed the name a little bit. Actually, it shows that the Republican and the Democrats, they work together. It's really something we work together. So I think it's a great symbol, actually. But we're doing a lot of work. That building's ready to fall down. It's in terrible shape. We're closing it. We're going to open it with a bang in less than 2 years. It'll come in under budget, ahead of schedule. That's what I do. It won't be like the Federal Reserve that's costing $4 billion or something thereabouts. Think of it, $4 billion. You know, it's amazing. I said to the group before, I said, everything I do, I get sued. I build under budget, ahead of schedule. I get sued over a ballroom that's going to be the most beautiful ballroom in the country, so desperately needed. You won't have to have tents sitting on the wet White House lawn. If it rains, you get wiped out, to honor the president of China or the president of France or the president of somewhere. You can have the greatest. We get sued by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. They don't know what they're doing. Then I just found out we got sued by that group and another group, I guess, on the fixing up of again, I'll use the old name, Kennedy Center, because they're not fixing up Trump Kennedy. It's going to be beautiful when you add the name Trump. But we got sued, and all I'm doing is fixing it up. We're fixing broken marble. We're putting on a roof because it leaks like a sieve. We're fixing steel that's broken. It's the same building, same exact building. We're fixing it. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be so beautiful and safe. It was actually unsafe. You had some of those columns on the outside that were painted a fake gold. Now we painted them a beautiful white color, beautiful cream white. It's beautiful. Everyone said it's so much more beautiful now. Instead of a cheap, you can't imitate gold. See, I'm a gold person. It's all real stuff. You can't imitate it. Someday they'll discover a paint that will look like gold, and the guy's going to be the richest man in the world. But you can't imitate real gold. It just doesn't. That's 24 karat, which is what this building deserves. But think of it. I get sued because I'm fixing up the Trump Kennedy Center. We're going to make it gorgeous and safe. We're fixing new windows, new this, but just all fix up. I got sued by preservationists. But you know who they didn't sue? the man that took this beautiful Federal Reserve building, that's small, much smaller than the hotel I built. I built the Waldorf Astoria Hotel down the road, and it was a beautiful job for $201 million. It's bigger, I think, than the Federal Reserve building, and it's got rooms and bathrooms, and it's not like just an open office space, which is much cheaper to build. Think of this. I hear he's going to be over $4 billion for a little building. He doesn't get sued by anybody but me. I sue because it's either somebody's very crooked, which has to be, because what happened to all that money? You can't sue. I would have done that building for $25 million. It's going to cost maybe $4 billion, and we have a great new person coming in to take over the Fed. And Kevin may not ever have an office, because I don't know if they're going to be able to build. I passed that building the other day. It's a see-through. You know what see-through means? There's no walls up. And they're going to spend. But the National Trust for Historic Preservation, which is a joke, by the way, they didn't sue that building. They didn't sue anybody.
Just keeping on that.
But they sue me, and I build. And by the way, my buildings, it's all donations. Rich people and people are putting up the money. Zero taxpayer dollars. Is that right, Scott? Zero taxpayer dollars. This stuff is all done for free, and I get sued. This can only happen to Trump. But they don't sue the guy whose interest rates are too high. That's why we call him Too Late. His name is Jerome Powell. We call him Jerome Too Late Powell. And done a terrible job. He suffers from Trump derangement syndrome, as he probably should, because I hit him pretty hard. But so I don't blame him. But they don't sue a man who has taken this gorgeous building, ripped it down from the inside, taking ceilings that are as beautiful as you've ever seen, taking the ceilings down instead of leaving them, taking walls down that were 2 feet thick of solid concrete and plaster, replacing them with 6-inch walls with no insulation. I said, let me ask you, are you going to put insulation in? No, it's not in the budget. Oh. Insulation costs $5. Now you're going to hear the guy next door. If he's next door to me, I'll be able to hear his military plan. I'll know exactly. If Lutnick is in there, I'll say, oh, I know exactly what Lutnick's got planned. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. They've ripped this gorgeous building apart, and you can never build it again. I could, but it costs a lot of money. But a normal person can never build. So you're going to have crummy little walls, a flat little ceiling eventually, but right now you don't have anything. And nobody sues this guy. And then when Jeanine Pirro, working with Pam and others, has the courage to sue to find out what happened to maybe $4 billion and a building that may never be occupied by Kevin Warsh. He may never get there. We're going to have to find him some space in the White House. We'll put him in the basement of the ballroom. But when, now think of it, when Jeanine Pirro and Pam and the group, when they bring a suit, it's like, oh, this terrible thing. And then we have a judge that attacks us. So we've got to get our priorities straight, you know. It's a very sad thing that's happened with the Fed. And then just one other thing very quickly, you have Gavin Newsom in California Railroad. That's 100 times over budget. It's out of control. It was supposed to go from the middle of San Francisco to the middle of LA. Well, now it stops way short of both. It now goes into areas that nobody ever heard of. It's billions and billions of dollars over budget, years and years, maybe decades late. And that's why we have a country that has a lot of problems, you know. We have incompetent people. It's all people. Think of this, Federal Reserve, I would have had that building done for $25 million. I would have, if I did it, it was up to, somebody else would have done it for more. So maybe 50. But you could have done that building, if it was properly done and planned, you would have done that building for, I would have done it for $25 million, and it would be better. It would be better See this pen right here? This pen is an interesting example. It's the same thing. So this pen is very inexpensive, but it writes well. I like it. But I can't have the pen the way it was. You know what it is. I don't want to give too much publicity, but they do treat me well. Sharpie. So I came here. They have $1,000 pens, and you know you hand pens out. You're signing and you hand them out. You're handing them to all these people. Sometimes you have 30, 40 people, and they were $1,000 a piece. Beautiful pen, ballpoint. 1,000. It was gold, silver, gorgeous. But I'm handing out to kids that don't even know what they're. What is this, mommy? It's kids. They're getting a pen for $1,000. They have no idea what it is, and I feel guilty because I'm like, you know, I'm by nature I don't, you know, it's the government. I love the government like I love myself economically. I want to save money, so I'm saying this is crazy, and it had another problem. They didn't write well, so I take it out, and I saw it, and there's no ink. And I got all you people looking, and you're saying, there must be something wrong with Trump. And I'm signing, and there's no ink in the pen, and it costs $1,000. This one, I called the guy. I said, I'd like to use your pen, but I can't have a gray thing with a big S on it, saying Sharpie. As I'm signing a $1 trillion airplane contract to buy brand new fighter jets, brand new B-2 bombers, of which we just ordered plenty. I can't do that with the press. Use your pen, but I like the pen the best, but I'll sign it. I could do like Biden did, you know? Give it to somebody else to sign, or an auto pen, or maybe sign it separately in another room, but I can't use your pen. He said, well, I can make it nicer. I said, what can you do? He said, I'll paint it black. I said, that's nice. And I can even paint the White House on it, sir, if you like, in gold. Almost real gold, not bad. And I can even do your signature, sir. And by the way, this was not staged. I just saw the pen sit there, and I thought of this as an example of how $25 million spent by me at the Federal Reserve Building would be a better job than $4 billion that they're spending. And you know, one of the things that Kevin Warsh told me, he said they ripped down the nicest building. I don't know what building they're talking about. They ripped down a building, Scott, right? Kevin Warsh said it's the most beautiful building in Washington. He said the most beautiful space. They ripped it down. Why did they do that? I don't know. Do you know what he's talking about? Is it true?
Yes, sir.
They ripped it down. We have a moron at the Fed. Who wouldn't be lowering interest rate? I said, how about $5 a pen? He said, that's all right. Whatever the hell we agreed to. Peanuts. As opposed to 1,000. And these were $1,000 pens. And we were giving them out. Sometimes, you know, you were there for signings. I'd have 30, 40 people standing behind me. I'd give out 40 pens to people. Then somebody would say, could I have a couple extra? This way, I'd go like this. Here, you want 5? Here, take 5. But the bottom line is, they're better pens. It's a business story. So for $5, could be 0, but for $5, I get a much better pen than for $1,000. And I can hand them out, and actually they become hot as a pistol, so what can I tell you? With that, could I give it to, please, a man who's done a great job at Treasury, Scott? Good luck, Scott.
Well, sir, as always, you're a tough act to follow, but that is very illustrative. Your economic leadership has made our military mission possible. Mr. President, national security, as you always say, is economic security. Your leadership has shown the American people that there is no prosperity without security. That our mighty military on one side, but the U.S. economic strength is fighting off this evil regime. The Iranians believe they are fighting a two-front war. It is the military war that our great warriors are prosecuting, but on the other side, they are trying to take control of the global economy through a choke point that we believe does not exist and that we will overcome. Your historic Operation Epic Fury seized a generational opportunity to demolish a regime that has coordinated over 4 decades of global terror and claimed thousands of American lives. Many people, especially the Democrats, underestimate the will of the American people for short-term volatility for 50 years of safety that we are going to have on the other side of this. And I believe energy prices will be lower, inflation will be lower. Before, we had the appearance of security which is not real security. Now, the American people and the world will have absolute security. Through your maximum pressure campaign, Treasury has worked to uncover all financial lifelines through the regime and cut them off. You gave that order last March. This was not something that happened overnight. This is something that has been contemplated for almost a year. The Iranian financial system collapsed in December. We have systematically weakened Iran's ability to fund operations and procure weapons, and that required months of preparations. Threats to American national security have no place in the global economic system. The oil market is well supplied. We have taken actions to ensure oil supplies stranded at sea are made available to the global market. Your bold actions like the Development Finance Corporation's Maritime Reinsurance Program in conjunction with Central Command will soon provide shippers through the Gulf region with a level of security we had never seen before. Mr. President, we are starting to see more and more movement in and out of the Gulf today, and this is more than yesterday, and this is the beginning. I am confident that shipping traffic will continue to increase on a daily basis even before we secure the straits. Turning to the home front, the U.S. economy remains strong. We had a strong economy thanks to you. We are the best insulated in the world thanks to your energy efforts in term 1 and term 2. The U.S. is an energy superpower. American workers' purchasing power is finally being restored. The latest figures indicate robust real compensation increases. We are starting to see the working family tax cuts benefits bearing fruit this tax season. 44% of tax returns have claimed at least one of your signature policies: no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. The average tax refund is up more than 10% for working Americans. The economy you vitalized through your pro-growth policies is well positioned to withstand these temporary disruptions. The United States dollar has reasserted itself as a safe haven asset. The U.S. dollar has appreciated since the hostilities began because everyone knows, thanks to your efforts, the U.S. economy is the best position in the world and capital is flowing in. Efforts to reprioritize economic security are ensuring the United States remains secure, resilient, and prepared for the challenges ahead. As we approach the 250th anniversary, America will never be safer and more secure militarily and economically. Thank you.
I just want to ask you a question. Is this guy central casting? I'm looking at him. I'm in Treasury. He might not be so good for war. I don't know. Pretty good. No, I'm looking pretty good too. I'm looking at this guy. He's central casting. Even the glasses are perfect. Where do you get those glasses? I think I'm going to get glasses. That's beautiful. Great job. That's really good. No, he's done a great job, and you all have. Proud of you all. Do you have any questions?
Yes. Mr. President, are you going to go in for the uranium? Like, how do you secure Iran and...
Let's assume I was or I wasn't. Why would I ever answer a question?
Can you accomplish
what kind of a question? Am I going to go in for the... Oh, yeah, I'm going in. We're going in tomorrow at 3 o'clock. How could you possibly ask a question like that and expect an answer? I don't know. But I don't know. I think you're a friendly person, too. It's just such a ridiculous question.
Mr. President.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's been a report that potentially the U.S. is looking at diverting some munitions, air defenses that were meant for Ukraine to the Middle East. Is there any accuracy to that? Is that something you're considering?
Well, I'd have to ask me, but we do that all the time. You know, we have tremendous amounts of ammunition. We have them in other countries, like in Germany and all over Europe. We have, you know, we're packed. And sometimes we take from one and we use for another. We help Ukraine. Biden started, and he gave $350 billion away. Too much, way too much. And we sell it now to NATO. We sell it to NATO, and they probably give it to Ukraine. Mostly, I think they give it to Ukraine. But we get paid for everything that we give. We don't give anything anymore. That's a tough situation, that whole Ukraine situation, very, very tough. We're working very hard on getting that one solved. It doesn't have any impact on us, virtually nothing. In fact, if anything, I mean, we sell a lot of equipment for that unfortunate war. 25,000 people died last month, 25,000, so mostly soldiers. Some in the towns, but for the most part soldiers. They're dying. Nobody's seen anything like it since World War II. It's a terrible situation, and hopefully that's going to get settled. You know, I settled 8 wars, and many of them I think were more difficult than this one. In theory, they were more difficult, but there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. Tremendous hatred. I've seen it before, but I've never seen it maybe to this extent. And I think that's calming down a little bit, and I think we have a chance of getting it done. But it doesn't affect us thousands of miles away. That's why when I heard the head of Germany say, this is not our war about Iran, I said, well, Ukraine's not our war. We helped, but Ukraine's not our war. I thought it was a very inappropriate statement to make, but he made it. You can't erase it. But he felt that way. I said, well, you know, Ukraine's not our war. And it's not, but I would like to see all those young people stop being killed. I mean, they're being killed. It's like a slaughterhouse. What's happening there is horrible. 25,000 on average. Last 2 months ago was 31,000 people died in 1 month, Marco, right? I said, it's getting crazy. It's getting worse. Think of it, 31,000 soldiers, both Russian and Ukraine, died 2 months ago, 25,000 last month. And if I can solve that, it would be a great honor to do it. I wish it could have gone faster. I solved other ones in 1 day that had been going for 32 years. We stopped one that was starting, it was already started, India and Pakistan, and the Prime Minister of Pakistan, a very fine gentleman, said President Trump solved something that was going to cost 10 million lives. That was going to cost a lot of lives, 2 nuclear nations. And those were complicated, but we got them done quickly. This one is, it's a shame. And the only reason I'm doing it, frankly, is because I want to stop death. I want to stop the death from happening. I think I'm going to go with a man that I've missed, Brian. I haven't seen you in a long time. I miss you. He's been in a very strange location. I don't know. He's had a strange thing happen. But anyway, go ahead, Brian.
Well, good to see you too. Actually, good to see the entire cabinet here. Linda, good to see you too. You talked about gas prices coming down.
Yeah.
Obviously, they will. But would you ever consider suspending the federal gas tax in order to kind of temporarily alleviate some?
Well, some people should do that. As an example, in California, every time prices go down, his prices go up because the gas tax is bigger than the tax itself, bigger than the product itself. It hasn't. I mean, we've thought about it, I guess, but honestly, when I did this, I knew it was going to be a little bit. We had the greatest economy ever. We had the greatest stock market in history. I said, we're going to take a little bit of a hit, a short-term hit. It's going to end up going much higher than it was, in my opinion. I said we're going to have a great stock market. Nobody thought we could get to 50,000 or 7,000 in the respective indices. Nobody thought that was going to happen, but it did in the first year. They said it couldn't happen in 4 years, that you wouldn't hit 50 in 4 years, but you could maybe get close. We hit it in the first year. And I said, this is a good time to solve a problem that you had to solve. And that's what I did. But the gas tax, people have talked about it. It's something we have in our pocket if we think it's necessary.
And if I can follow real quickly, you just recently took off, Secretary Duffy, 17,000 truckers off the road that quite frankly could not speak English, which is a safety issue.
Yeah.
Could we ever extend that to Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, cab drivers, for someone who takes a lot of Ubers? A lot of my drivers can't speak English.
Well, that's not good. I didn't like that. Go ahead, John.
So that's a really good point. The problem is that our states are the ones that issue these licenses. So with commercial driver's licenses, we do have some federal control But again, we have thousands of people who can't speak the language, long-standing rule, and it's a safety issue, right? If you can't understand road signs, if you can't communicate with law enforcement when you're pulled over and communicate what's on your rig, huge problem. But the last administration, Mr. President, they let truck driving schools self-certify that they were qualified to train truck drivers. And so this is like the Leering Center. So you pay $800 and you get a certificate that you passed a CDL driving school. And again, they have no skills. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the skills. They haven't gone through any of the testing. And then they get licenses, and they're killing Americans on our roads. So it's remarkable, the rot that the last administration allowed to take place. We are ending that, and I need partnership with our states. Even California started to come on board. Even Gavin has started to play ball with us, which is surprising. Not all the way, a little bit of ball.
Mr. President,
You know, it's interesting because I just saw something that the nursing home business and the daycare centers in particular, they went out and inspected them in Minnesota, and they didn't exist. They're knocking on the door. He happens to be a young man, Nick, nice young man. He's done a very good job. They're knocking on doors. It's like homes, and they're getting hundreds of thousands of that. They didn't exist, and in California, it's worse. It's even worse. And I spoke with Russell Vogt. I said, Russell, don't send them any money. He said, but we have a court order that we have to. Can you believe it? A judge. The judges are really hurting this country. Our judges, Justice Roberts doesn't like when I say it, but the judges are really hurting this country. And frankly, the justices, the Supreme Court, has really hurt our country too.
Mr. President, do you have a new deadline, given that there are some talks now? Do you have a new deadline before taking?
No, I'll announce it. I mean, right now, you're talking about a deadline for doing some pretty big damage, even bigger than we've done. We'll see. Look, we have very substantial talks going on with respect to Iran, with the right people. You know, I told you about a present, right? Steve, can I reveal the present?
You can do anything you want.
Thank you. They said to show you the fact that we're real and solid and we're there, we're going to let you have 8 boats of oil, 8 boats, 8 big boats of oil. This was 2 days ago. And they'll sail up tomorrow. That was 3 days ago. And I didn't think much about it. And then I watched the news, and they said, a very good anchor, actually, happened to be Fox. But I watched it, and he said, something's unusual happening. There are 8 boats that are going right up the middle of the Hormuz Strait. 8 big tankers are going loaded up with oil right through. And I said, well, I guess they were right, and they were real. And I think they were Pakistani flagged.
Yes.
And I said, well, I guess we're dealing with the right people. And actually, they then apologized for something they said, and they said, we're going to send 2 more boats. And it ended up being 10 boats. All right, I hope I haven't screwed up your negotiations, but I thought it was appropriate to say, because I did taunt you the other day by saying they're going to give us a present.
There were 2 illegal immigrants who were arrested at San Francisco airport for ignoring deportation orders. At the same time, as you highlighted, really great reception from American travelers for ICE agents. Is there a PR aspect of this that can allow future deportations to go on with less protesting, less outrage?
Yeah, it's amazing, because by putting ICE there, look, the press was very unfair to ICE. So was everyone else.
Yeah, guys, it seems like pretty much majority of the day was around this meeting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna close the stream, and our trade is still open. I still expect price to hit our take profit. So, but my stop is at break even anyways, right? So if it reverses, we're gonna stop at break even. If it pushes, we're gonna hit TP. Okay. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, one thing we did today was there was a trade that was still developing, and we wanted to take that trade. However, that trade eventually did not pan out as we wanted, so we did incur a loss. But this is going to be our second trade for the day, guys. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day, and be safe out there. There's a lot of volatility in the market, so this is the only trade we are going to take. Okay, guys, so see you tomorrow. Bye.